Hello everybody, my name is Deja and welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming my September TBR. It's been a while since I've seen y'all and you've seen me. I hope that y'all missed me because I definitely missed y'all. I actually filmed so many videos during my break and just didn't have a chance to edit them because July was very crazy in the fact that I was finishing up an internship which kind of went awry, I'm not gonna lie, and I had a class for my internship and I was working, and then I started to have to pack because, if you can't tell, I'm in a different location because I moved back to school for my 4th and final year of college, and even though I'm a resident advisor at my school, I was able to get a studio apartment, so I'm super happy about that, and I'm hoping my videos will be a little bit more visually interesting with different locations around the apartment. And I hope you guys like this setup. It's very reminiscent of setups I've had in the past, but still different nonetheless. I have this nice green chair, this collage wall that I do every year, my bookcase, my book card. These are not the only books in my apartment, but here are some of my books and my desk. If you guys like the vibes of this, I will be posting a full apartment tour over on my Patreon for my Slasher Queen tier. If you're interested, that will be going up sometime in September because I'm still working on the space. But I'm really excited to be back because I have been so slumpy. I feel like I've been in a slump all year. Sometimes I've been able to come out of it a bit, but most of the time I have not. I'm trying to look to see how many books I read in August, and you would think because I'm packing and moving I would have a lot of time, but I just haven't been in a reading mood. I only read 3 books in August, which is the lowest amount that I read all year. I don't even know if I read that little last year in any month. But you know what? Reading is still reading and it's still valid no matter how many books you read a month. And I'm hoping that this month we'll be able to jump back into it a little bit because it is getting to my favorite time of year. Fall and spooky season's coming up. So I will be pulling a lot for my fall TBR, which is also going up on Patreon later in September. But I will be pulling mostly for my fall TBR, which is here. I do have some books not physically with me that are on my fall TBR that I don't own. And so I'm hoping to get really into my fall books, start incorporating some spooky reads, and then I'm going to be having such a good time with reading in September now that things have died down. My class schedule is a lot less rigorous than it has been in the past, so I feel like I will have ample time. But I also started up a new hobby over the summer, which is crocheting, and I can't listen to audiobooks and crochet, but sometimes, the pattern is a little complicated, it's a little complex. I'm just gonna hope for the best and, plan this like how I would any other TBR. So of course, first I always go over all my book club obligations and things that I have to read for the month, and then I normally do my TBR jar, which has all my physical books in it that I own for the most part. It's not completely up to date, but for the most part it is. And then I do a couple spins on my TBR spinner wheel. And I also have reading vlogs and stuff planned for the month. I don't really want to talk too much in depth about those just in case I don't get around to them. I don't want to get y'all's hopes up, but I will be trying to incorporate those books on my September TBR. So first up is my own book club, The Final Chapter, which I run over on my Patreon for my 2 highest tiers. In the month of September, we are going to be reading The House of Bone and Rain by Gabino Iglesias. I really wanted to read his release last year, The Devil Takes You Home, because I heard so many good things about it, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But this is a new release he just came out with last month, I believe, and it sounds so good. It's very much giving me reminiscent vibes of S.A. Cosby, who I absolutely love and adore. This one says that it's about a group of 5 teenage boys living in Puerto Rico that seek vengeance after one of their mothers is murdered, a doomed tale of devotion and the afterlife of violence. This one is marketed as horror versus S.A. Cosby is marketed as thriller, but they do give me very similar vibes with kind of a revenge story, which is really interesting. I'm hoping that this one has a lot for us to discuss over on Patreon. I'm really excited for it. And we also have been doing kind of series buddy reads. So right now we're actually buddy reading the Inheritance Games series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I started the Natural series earlier this year and absolutely loved it. And I already owned the Inheritance Games, so I thought, let me put on the poll. I think I put 6 or 7 options on the poll for people to vote on which series we were going to read next. And surprisingly, the Inheritance Games won. I didn't expect it. In the month of August, you're supposed to read the second book, The Hawthorne Legacy, which I unfortunately did not get around to, so I'll be reading that one also this month, as well as The Final Gambit. For the series, I think there's the original trilogy and a couple additional books, so we are going to be reading the original trilogy, probably having a live show at the beginning of October for it, and then reading the additional books and then having another live show at the end for that, as well as we have Discord where we can chat about it. And if you don't know what the Inheritance Games is about, it's basically about this girl Avery, I believe her name is, and she's kind of like down on her luck. Her parents really aren't in her life. She's just trying to survive, honestly, and she finds out one day that she has inherited a fortune from this man that she's never met before, and he has a long legacy of family that could have easily had the money and taken on the fortune. So people are kind of weird and suspicious about why this random girl is getting all this money, and she has to actually complete some tasks to be able to get this fortune. It is YA, so she is like probably like 17 years old, and I enjoyed the first one. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. I'm excited to continue and see if it picks up a bit, because I thought it was good, but it wasn't like my specific type of like mystery or thriller. So I'm hoping that I enjoy the rest of the series a little bit more. I also try to actively participate in 2 book clubs because I'm a part of their memberships. The first one is my friend Hailey with her Pretty Girl book club, and those books I don't feel as much pressure to read because if I do read them, there's always the live shows. But one of the book clubs that I recently joined that I really like to read the books for is for Kyrah Stewart. She runs a book club. I think it's like Yes We Read. It's over on her Patreon as well. Both of them are on Patreon, and her book club, we do Zoom calls instead of live shows. So if you don't read it in time and you can't make the Zoom, it's over with. Like, you just will never have that discussion. So I really try to actively read those in the months that they are occurring so I can participate in the discussion. The book for the month of September is Remarkably Bright Creatures, which I've never heard of this book. I think it's more like literary or general fiction mixed in with some magical realism, because all I know about this one is like, I think we follow an octopus. That's all that I know, and it really intrigued me, so I hope that we have a good discussion around this one as well. And I am participating in one other book club this month, and that is the Literally Dead book club run by Kayla from Books and Lala. I normally pop on for a book club live show like once a year, and I absolutely adore doing it. And this year we're going to be reading The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I do own Long Bright River by this author, but I didn't get around to reading it yet. It says, when a teenager vanishes from her summer camp, 2 worlds collide. And I believe that this one takes place in the 70s, and it's about like somebody in this family who disappears at the summer camp, but they're not the only person from this family to have disappear at the summer camp. So this one I heard is more of like a slower mystery, and I'm really excited to get to it because I've heard good things about this author. I hope that it's not too incredibly slow because I am a little slumpy, but I'm excited to check it out and to discuss over at the Literally Dead book club on Kayla's channel. I'm really excited to read this one and discuss with Kayla and everybody else at the Literally Dead book club live show, which will probably be in the beginning of October as well. Just really excited for this one because it was already on my TBR, so when she asked me, I was like, of course, I would love to read this with you. So now we're going to be picking a physical book from my TBR jar for me to read this month. I actually have my 2 previous picks from June and July as well that I haven't read yet, because earlier in the spring, I believe, I did a video where I read books from my TBR jar, like that my TBR jar picked for me, which were the picks from the month, because I try to do like one a month, but I don't have to read it during that month. I just have to read it by the end of the year, because if I don't read the books that I pull by the end of the year, I have to unhaul them. I decided to do like a whole video around it and like plan it into content, and I decided to do that again this time, so I was waiting to get like 3 or 4 books. So this video should be coming this month where I do that again. So I'm gonna pick the last book to read for that vlog. The other 2 that I have are The Cheerleaders by Cara Thomas, which is a YA thriller I've owned for a long time, and Miracle Creek by Angie Kim, which I think is more of like a slower kind of legal thriller. So let's pick the last book for that reading vlog. Most of these correspond, like the colors correspond to a genre, but the newer books are on white paper because I ran out of those colors of paper. So I'm just reaching in here and I'm going to pick up this one. It is a blue, which I believe is a thriller or mystery. I just have a letter and a number on here because it corresponds to a row and a column on a spreadsheet for me to look. So I got G84, which is Creep by Jennifer Hillier, which I've already read. So let's reach back in the jar for another pick. I try not to look because I don't want to pick like a genre that I know, but I also want to make sure I'm not dropping them all over myself. Okay, so I picked up one of the white ones, which is one of the newer ones. It's G105, which is another thriller or mystery. So let me scroll down and see what it is. Okay, Okay, it's Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. So let me get it because I think I might have it here. Okay, so here it is. This is one that I got, I believe, earlier this year. I think I actually got this on a wellness day where I went crazy in Barnes & Noble. And this one, I believe, is about like these 4 or 5 women that used to work for this elite network of assassins like for 40 years, and now they're like old school and like kind of out of touch, so people like don't want them to work anymore. But I believe this book follows 4 women who spent their lives as some of the deadliest assassins for 40 years for an international organization, but now they're retired, but they go on some sort of like vacation or something and kind of get pulled back into the assassin lifestyle. I've heard mixed things about this one, but I'm excited for it. So this is going to be our lineup for that vlog. So this is one vlog that y'all will know about. I'm hoping that it'll come out in September. If not September, definitely October. I'm really excited for this lineup. I feel like I have a book that I have owned for a really long time that I probably wouldn't get to otherwise, and then these two, this one I've been really excited for and been meaning to read for a very long time, and then this one is kind of a newer purchase that I've heard mixed things about, but I still wanted to read regardless. So it's kind of like a good mix of things. So let's tack this on to the TBR. Now we're going to be doing my spinner wheel, which I have not done in a long time. Okay, so here's the TBR wheel. I kind of need to do an updated fall one, so that'll be coming next month. I just don't have time to do that right now because I did like a spring summer one, so I want to kind of update it for fall, but this is one of my previous editions, so we are just going to use this one. So we are going to do the first spin. I think I'm going to do 5. So we have a random color, so I'm going to go to a random color generator, generate a color, and then see if I can find a book that I have here or that's on my TBR that I can match kind of to that color. Okay, so I'm at randomwordgenerator.com, which also has a random color generator. So we're just gonna do one color, and I'm gonna do it 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. Signal white. Really? No. I'm gonna do another 3 because white is so boring. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Moss gray. If you know me, you know that I love to double up on like book club picks and stuff like that with also my spinner wheel prompts. So I think for this one I'm going to go with the God of the Woods because this one definitely has like that mossy gray color in it. Like it looks almost identical to the color that's showing up on my computer screen. So I'm going to be going with this one just to make it easier on myself. The page refreshed, but we are going to be doing our second spin. Sometimes it just randomly refreshes. I don't know. This website's kind of janky. Not gonna hold you, but I like it. So next up we have a person on the cover. For Person on the Cover, this is a book that I've been really wanting to read. It's a horror book, and that is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. I believe this is about a woman that's a food critic, but she's also a cannibal. So that is a very interesting dynamic, and I hope that I really like this one. I've heard mixed things, but this just sounds like such a perfect book for me. It sounds like a literary horror, and I'm just really excited to pick this one up. Moving on to our third spin. We have a book gifted to me. Okay, this is gonna take me a second. This one was kind of gifted to me. It was gifted to me by the publisher, I should say, and that is This Ravenous Fate by Hailey Jennings. This is a book that I've been so highly anticipating. It's about Black lesbian enemies to lover vampires. I think one's a vampire, one's a vampire hunter in the Harlem Renaissance in the 1920s, and it just sounds so good. This is also written by Hailey Jennings. It's her debut, but she is a booktuber, and I've been really wanting to read this book. I had the arc of it for so long, but I've just been so slumpy that I haven't had the chance to get around to this one, especially because there was no audiobook. I just didn't have the mental capacity to physically read, but now this one's out and about in the world. You can find her at your local bookstore. I highly recommend supporting Hailey. But now that it's out, there's also an audiobook. I really want to get to this one, especially to write my review, so I'm gonna go with this one. It was gifted to me by the publisher / author. Now moving on to our fourth spin. We have Finish a Book Already Started. The only book that I'm currently in the middle of that I haven't like fully DNF'd is actually my Patreon book club pick for the month of August, because it's September 1st, but I have not finished the book yet because I'm a little behind. Our live show is not happening till the 5th, so I have a little bit of time to read it. But this one I've barely started, but I definitely need to get into because it is for the book club pick, and that one is called Bless Your Heart by Lindy Ryan. So this one I believe takes place in 1999 in southeastern Texas, where we followed this family of Evans women, and they actually actually own a funeral parlor, and they just kind of, you know, all have their own different things. They're at all different age ranges, but they own this funeral parlor. And then one of the people in the town is dead and brought back to life, and they know that these things called the strigoi, which have been in a variety of different vampire media, like I know for sure they were in Vampire Academy if you read that back in the day, but the strigoi are the original vampire and they're back. And so the Evans women feel obligated that they have to basically kill all the undead that arise in all the strigoi. Then people in the town start asking questions and stuff like that. As I said, I'm a little into it. I'm enjoying it so far, and I'm excited to get further into it. Okay, so now we're going to be doing our 5th and final spin. Let's hope it's something good, not something trash. Backlist book. Okay, this is easy. Just a book for my backlist, which I know different people refer to different things as backlist. I'm saying anything not published this year as backlist in 2024 because, so let's see what I can find. I have a lot of options for my fall TBR. The one I'm going to go with for this one is one I've been really wanting to read, even though I don't know if I'm going to be a fan of this person's work, but that is The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. I feel like her work is perfect for this time of year, but I do know that this kind of leans in a direction that is not my personal preference when it comes to like thriller and horror. I don't remember which one this one is. It might be mystery, to be honest, but I know this one kind of leans in a different direction. I don't want to say, in case y'all come for me in the comments and say that it's a spoiler, even though it's not, because I haven't read any of her books and I still know it, but just in case, if you guys want to know, you could DM me on Instagram and I'll tell you, but I don't want to say here because people have tried to clock me for saying spoilers before when they're not spoilers. Okay, so I'm just trying to be a little bit more cautious, but this one is not one that I know exactly what it's about, so let's read the little, it has like one of the little tiny blurbs at the top. A true crime blogger gets more than she bargained for while interviewing the woman acquitted of 2 cold case slayings in this chilling new novel from best-selling author of The Sundown Motel. I think I also own The Sundown Motel, but this one just sounded more interesting to me when I read the little blurb, which I didn't remember, but it did sound more interesting, and I feel like this one screams kind of more fall vibes. I think I also have the library book, like the audio of it, coming in. Yeah, I can check it out. It came to me yesterday at 5 p.m. so I could definitely check this one out and have the audio, but this is one that has just been kind of calling to me, even though I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not, so we're gonna be adding this one to the TBR. So this is my September TBR with a couple more books added on. I have House of Bone and Rain, which I need to read for my book club. I need to read The Final Gambit and the second book in that series, I forget the title already. I need to read those two as well, which I don't physically own. And then I have Killers of a Certain Age for my TBR jar. Then The God of the Woods is for Random Color and also the Literally Dead book club. Then we have A Certain Hunger, which is for a person on the cover. Then we have This Ravenous Fate for a book gifted to me. Then Bless Your Heart, which I don't physically have, is for my Patreon book club last month and a book I already started. And then for a backlist book, we have The Book of Cold Cases. As I said, I have some other reading vlogs planned, including one with these 2 books, but I am hoping to get out at least 3 this month, so that's quite a few other books, and also Remarkably Bright Creatures I want to read for Kyrah's book club. So it's quite a lot of books, and considering that I've been slumpy, it's not ideal, but I really just want to get back into it. You know, it's fall, the fall books are coming, and I'm excited. I think we have a pretty good range of fall books on here, and you know, we have some vampires, some cannibals, some other stuff, so hopefully it'll be a good reading month. Let me know what you guys are going to be reading in the month of September down below, and if you've read any of these and have any opinions on them and you think I'm gonna like them or not, let me know, because I would love for you to tell me. And if you made it to the end of this video, leave the little pumpkin emoji down below, because fall is finally here, and I will see y'all in my next one. Bye everybody. I'm